What is up, everyone? This is SpireFan here. We just got back from a great January 2024 Pokemon in-person Highlander Monthly. A lot of great matchups to cover. Go Chiefs, thanks to the pizza place for playing that game while we were playing, and we were also able to catch it on the way home as we got home for sure. It was very entertaining across the board for both Pokemon and the game for sure. Without further ado, let's get right into these matches. As always, check out the visual guide on the eaglesperch.net in the description if you'd like to have something to refer to for what Pokemon people were playing today. So round one, we got K. Willie versus Sax, classic friendly rivalry. We'll call it that for sure. K. Willie is actually playing the same deck he's been playing for a while. He's been honing it and definitely been practicing different variations of it. We see the opener with Whisper, gets the Collector. This is the first tournament where Battle VIP Pass is banned. We see the Alolan Sandshrew, Hone Edge, Pineco, and Whisper. With Jirachi in the lead, very colorful bench there. Already gets the Fortress out by using Jirachi to use Wally as the effect for Jirachi's Detour attack. We see Sax start with his own pretty colorful bench as well, and with an Emolga as the active, using Call for Family, stocking up the Snom there and Venonat. And as they both stockpile up their bench, we see K. Willie go for the Colress, getting a lot of cards, setting up his Exploud. As you know, with K. Willie's deck, he definitely wants to do some spread damage with Pokemon like Exploud and Sandslash for Aegislash to come in later to potentially win the game. We see Venomoth level X, a Highlander debut. Venomoth level X says if it's active, the opponent has to discard a supporter to play one. So now Sax is already promoting the pressure, and you can see the Kecleon on the bench. So what's going on here is that Venomoth is using its shift power, Poke Power, to copy any type on the board. Kecleon is every type as long as it doesn't have 2 or more damage counters on it. But thankfully, K. Willie does have a lot of Pokemon that can do a bunch of spread damage, so he actually did say after this game that he's taking note of that. If they play this matchup again, it's looking like he's going to try to dial in on putting a lot of damage counters on Kecleon to stop this combo, because if you don't, Venomoth is hitting for weakness basically every turn. That being said, both Exploud and Aegislash have Pokebodies that stop weakness on your side, so K. Willie does have a lot of great answers to this combo. We see Kecleon promoted, Sax going to the switch back to Frostmoth. Frostmoth able to cycle a bunch of energy when they're attached from the hand, grass and water. So very strong. We see the Meganium on the bench, another way to accelerate energy from the hand, activating Frostmoth's ice skills multiple times in a turn, and we definitely saw that at the tournament. Frostmoth also having a devastating Blizzard loop, able to do a ton of damage, put the energies back into the hand. Rinse and repeat. Here comes Venomoth level X again. I like the Clean Clang with the Rocky Helmet, being able to put a lot of pressure onto Sax if he wants to attack into Clean Clang. And we see the Aegislash on the bench, ready to punish accordingly if a lot of damage counters are put. New addition to K. Willie's deck is Bronzong. Bronzong able to basically cast a ton of spread damage from its Pokebody and first attack. But with that being said, Sax was able to really keep some pressure going with Venomoth, Kecleon as his core, and Meganium, Frostmoth able to provide a ton of support. So Sax does take that. And game 2, we got Steven versus Sax. They're basically rivals at this point, especially when you consider last year and how often these players were just going at it at the tables for sure. Both just very good sports too when it comes to playing on Highlander. And so anyway, we got Steven playing his Lost Zone deck with Arceus, Giratina, and Regigigas. And so Steven is pushing strategies with Pokemon like the Villain, who is able to reconvert energy types to whatever you want, which can be very helpful, by converting, for example, you could convert that fire energy to grass if you want to attack with Volbeat, so that can be very helpful, especially with the wide abundance of energy that Steven's using. If he needs to call upon a different energy type, he can use that with the Villain. Sax already promoting Venonat with an energy. We don't see Kecleon yet, but Sax is running his own Volbeat. There is Volbeat level X now. We didn't see that at the tournament, but it's definitely just another thing to consider in your extra deck with added options there. Okay, we see the Marnie, the Shuffle in. Now Frostmoth able to use Icy Wind and put Jirachi to sleep. That can be very crucial here, as Jirachi is looking to help promote momentum for, Steven. Speaking of, Steven with different colored energies all set for Regigigas. And looking like he's able to start getting... He could definitely do drag off, but yeah, it looks like Sax is able to reply with Frostmoth and get a knockout with Blizzard Loop on Regigigas. Very good, because Regigigas, especially with being able to swap in and out of energy, could probably start doing Crush Grip by that next turn. You can see the Chorus's experiment, definitely loading up a lot. So we see Jirachi level X, a Highlander debut, uses Pokemon Catcher with Jirachi level X's Poke Power, saying once per game you can decide the coin flip result. Also using Jirachi level X's attack, which does 10 damage times the amount of cards in your Lost Zone. You can put a card in your Lost Zone too, or you have to. And then if you get a knockout that way, you get 2 of any cards from your discard pile to your hand. Okay, and another Highlander debut is Kecleon level X, looking like Sax is promoting that to maintain momentum. Able to now have access to another attack, which can be very good for Kecleon because you're often hitting for weakness and resistance, but being able to have a wide move pool there can be very helpful. See the Giant Stump. Now, Steven was talking about playing one of 3 different stadiums, Giant Stump, Temple of Sinnoh, and Path to Peak. And being able to play Roseanne's backup to shuffle those back in is very good. He's basically playing like a micro stadium toolbox, which is really also just really strong with a very versatile deck like Steven's that's all anchored around the Lost Zone. It's a core strategy. It's a very close match in the prize race. We do see Sax attacking with Volbeat here, able to cause some disruption. Steven looking to try to get some momentum back with Sovali here. Gets the KO on Volbeat. Steven at 2 prizes left. Sax looking what he can do here. Uses the Guzma. Pulls up with Frostmoth. Does a Blizzard Loop for the... Looks like, yeah, he's definitely preparing for that Blizzard Loop KO. And actually, but even with that, Steven just had so much momentum that he does take the game here. And so finally, game 3, we got Steven versus K. Willie. Already starting with Regigigas out of the gate. You see those slow counters. Regigigas has 3 turns where he does less attack and has higher retreat per counter. And K. Willie already starting with Sand Slash with the special metal. Goes to the bench, goes to Whismer. Okay, looking like Giratina lead can be pretty good. You can get that over/slash spread damage ASAP, but also Giratina can just start streaming Let Loose like we're seeing right here. The core combo now that Steven, basically put on the map was use Volbeat's Poke Power to make both opponents put their supporter on top of their deck, and then Giratina's Let Loose makes both opponents put those cards into the Lost Zone, so your opponent is not going to get their supporter back. See the Temple of Sinnoh being able to basically turns all special energy into providing just the colorless, which can definitely damper the plans of K. Willie here with his use of special metal and double colorless energy. We do see the leftovers on Loudred looking like he heals off there with the fresh water set, but leftovers is definitely great assurance here. Evolves into Bronzong and Exploud. It's pretty good there in terms of board states. Steven's got to be careful because while Sovali turns all your Pokemon, your basic Pokemon, they have no retreat cost, so that's a great conversion there. Rampardos and Golisopod are still going to have their retreat cost, and Bronzong does spread damage based off retreat cost for its first attack, and we're about to probably see that here. Yeah, Steven's kind of reading the effect of the attack, and combined with Rocky Helmet and Bronzong's Pokebody, we're seeing a lot of spread damage, which is definitely what K. Willie wants as like his plan A in all of this. So we see the Chorus's experiment definitely racking up the prize cards here. Golisopod, nice use of the Float Stone there. Golisopod likes to pivot for first impression plays for high amounts of damage for 1 energy. Goes to Arceus. Looks like he's definitely going for those Sky Spear plays. But here comes Exploud. Definitely able to, again, stream high amounts of spread damage. Also can just do great disruption in general. Bronzong is back doing spread. They thought the game was over. We did some checking, and Golisopod definitely has a retreat cost, but Golisopod will live. And then Sovali helped out here. K. Willie and Steven, great sports, so they definitely tried to turn the game state back to where it was. And they're definitely playing it out, which is cool. We see Rampardos here switch to Golisopod. Goes for some damage. Clink Clang is looking like K. Willie's potential saving grace here because he's going to have to reset up his bench. Time was called. It's, you know, pretty close. Kling Klang is loaded with energy, and 2 heads can KO basically any Pokemon in Highlander before specific effects are regarded. For example, like Crustal's Pokebody at full HP. Looking like Rampardos is trying to hold ground for Steven, as Steven looks to set up Jirachi, and got a Water Energy on Arceus there. But if Steven doesn't get rid of Kling Klang, then yeah, K-Willie can just keep holding his ground, and he does. We see the Will end game. He shows the Will. This kind of ended up where Steven's like, oh, do you have it? And, you know, K-Willie was just talking about the current game state, and Will is very good with Kling Klang. You can just guarantee at least your first coin flip, which is going to already do a lot of damage with Gear Grind. Thanks again to all our contestants for entering. If you're wondering about the card that Sax held up to the camera versus Steven, he did bring Cook unsleeved. Him and TRK are definitely trying to fight for the self-proclaimed title. Cook is not legal in Highlander. The power levels are a bit high for the healing, but Sax definitely keeps that card around. He also kept Lost World around. But yeah, thanks again for our contestants. Congrats to Sax for winning. You guys all brought really cool decks, and I look forward to seeing what decks are going to be brought this year. It's going to be awesome. Also, go Chiefs. Have a good one.